Interesting stories. Interesting people. Welcome to the Humble Badger Podcast.
Thank you for listening to this podcast today. Remember to like and follow us at The Humble Badger on Twitter and Facebook, or at The Humble Badger Podcast on Instagram. Now, this episode is brought to you with the help of our promotional partners at Malatesta Opera Events. Beauty, passion, voice. And if you're looking for that for your next event, you can hire them. You can visit them at malatestaoperaevents.com. My name is Pablo Dawson. I am an event host and an MC, and I am your host for this episode of the Humble Badger Podcast. As you know, we always start off with random facts and information. Today's random fact comes to you from our good friends at Algonquin Provincial Park. It's a provincial park that is located between Georgian Bay and the Ottawa River in Ontario, Canada, and it is the oldest provincial park in Canada. I did not know that. What about my co-host? Were you aware of that?
I'm not aware of many things, so that's one of the things I'm not aware of. For the record, hi, I'm Hijo del Guapo. You can call me Chris. I am an artist, a cartoonist, a singer, and I like long walks in the park.
Okay, this isn't a dating profile. We're just...
sorry, wrong podcast.
Wrong podcast, yeah, exactly. No, but the thing about Algonquin Park, I don't know about you, but ever since I was a kid, I mean, first of all, it sounded like it was really far away.
Super far.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not actually that far. It's only a few hours, and I've always wanted to go there, and I've gone to the edge of there, but never actually in
the park.
In the park, yeah, exactly. But it looks very beautiful, and our guest definitely should have some information about Algonquin Park, because apparently that's where she grew up.
Yes, my name is Cassidy Taylor. I'm a folk pop artist from Haliburton, Ontario, where Algonquin Park is. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. Now, Cassidy, I'm sure you've been to Algonquin Park several times.
Oh, too many.
Too many. If someone's a first-time visitor, what would you recommend that they check out for sure?
Well, the whole forest is full of all these sculptures, which is really cool. Definitely check them all out. Like it's a decent walk. There's lots of statues to check out.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. There's just a lot of trees and forest around the place. Nothing in particular.
Yeah. But all very beautiful, I'm sure.
Yes, very, especially in the fall.
Much like your music, which you can find out more about at CassidyTaylorMusic.com. If you check it out, you will notice you've done an awful lot at such a young age. Can you talk a little bit about how you got started in music, and when did you know that this was going to be something you were going to do as a career?
For sure. For me, music was always number one. I don't know how I knew that, but somehow I think I did. I started off writing short stories and songs from a very young age, even before I played guitar, knew how to sing. And then I got into guitar from my dad, who knew also how to play guitar. And then from there, I just kind of accompanied myself with vocals, but hadn't actually learned any technique until I went to Metalworks 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that kind of started. Before that, I just kind of sang, and whatever came out.
Oh, okay. Like most of us, I guess.
That's what I do, right?
I accompanied myself once, but then they gave me medication for that. So it's a different type. But yeah, you've been doing this for a very long time, even though you are of such a young age. You play a wide range of instruments. Can you tell the listeners all the different instruments that you play?
Well, guitar is the main thing. I played piano, ukulele, which is kind of guitar. I don't know if it counts, but
it's a different instrument.
It's a guitar.
Yeah.
No, it's a different instrument. You can't say I'm bringing a guitar to an event and then show up with a ukulele.
Visually, though.
You're going to have a lot of disappointed people if you do that. Yes, you will.
Yes, you. I was going to say or, but
no. Yes, you are.
Yes, all right.
Yeah, I honestly, I think that's it. If I'm remembering, I mean, a bit of electric guitar. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. I used to play flute in like grade 8, but I don't know if I could do that now.
Oh, okay. What's your favorite instrument to play? The guitar?
Guitar, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I played the French horn when I was 12.
Did you really?
In a marching band. It was great.
Wait, they have marching bands in Canada?
Yeah, I was part of the Philippine Heritage Band. It was a marching concert band.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
No, that's incredible because I didn't think there's marching bands in Canada. What with the weather and all, like it's hard to march through.
We're not marching in December.
Yeah,
but like the Santa Claus Parade, Toronto did that a bunch of years. That was a lot of fun.
Huh.
Got good cardio when I was a kid.
When you were a kid,
Yeah.
Now he doesn't march with his French horn anymore.
And I also played the drums too. It was a thing.
Really?
I don't do any of it now.
We're learning a lot about you today, there, Chris.
I mean, yeah, but this interview is not about me.
It's not about you at all. No, that's why I was waiting for you to chime in on that.
Yes, no, definitely no. I was actually because I know you grew up in Algonquin, like in the area. How did where you grew up? How did that affect you and like the music you played? Did it influence you in any particular household?
Yeah, I think so. There was a lot of artistic support from the community. It's a very artistic town. So that definitely helped the whole confidence thing, like doing music and wanting to do this for a living. That was like a huge part of deciding to really go with this as a career. But yeah, artistically, there's a lot of folk music, I think, in the area. A lot of people who just play guitar and sing. So I think that was definitely played a part in what music I decided to go with.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's fun. Like your environment influences a lot of like how you create.
For sure. I also write in a lot of my songs. I write a lot about nature and like a lot of the metaphors in my music is a lot about the atmosphere and like nature and how that affects us as humans, I guess. Yeah. Not in a direct way, but more metaphorically, I think.
Right.
So yeah, that probably had a part to play for sure.
And then you came to Metalworks, which is one of the preeminent institutions for musical study here in the city of Mississauga. Can you talk a little bit about your experience at Metalworks, as well as what was it like going from a small town like Halliburton to a it's a large city. I can say it's a large city, like Mississauga. It might not be as large as Toronto, but it's certainly still considered. It's the sixth largest city in Canada. Yes. So there you go. So what was that like? Talk about your experience with Metalworks and then the contrast.
For sure. Yeah, it was definitely a huge jump for me. Definitely was out of my comfort zone. Metalworks was really cool also because it's not that big of a school. So I think that really helps that it was only a school of, I think, about 200 people. So it was almost like a mini town within itself in its own way, which I think helped in a lot of ways. And yeah, they also had a lot of the classes I took were very diverse. There was like songwriting, history classes, production classes. It's just like a bunch of different things, like even business and
musical history and whatnot. Or?
Yeah, exactly. Musical history,
and
even
they even
arts
teach
in
about
general.
business.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Sure.
That's good. Well, I could see definitely you've learned something because when you take a look at your website, it's all done very professionally. And just a reminder, that's CassidyTaylorMusic.com. It has all the information on how you can follow her. What kind of projects do you have upcoming for 2020?
I have lots.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So I don't want to say too much right now, but I am in the studio working on multiple songs
on a top secret album.
Yes, top secret. But I don't want to say anything yet because we still have a ways to go with the project, and I don't want to give anything away too soon.
Right.
But I'm so excited, and it's hard to keep my mouth shut about it. So you have to tell me this.
She's apparently not good at keeping secrets. So you can stay tuned to her website and follow her social media. You can get more information about her. Music that is upcoming. And as far as about her and about you, tell me, what do you like to do after all this music during the day and stuff? How do you unwind? What are your guilty pleasures? What's a odd TV show that you watch that you don't want to talk about? Talk about it right here on the Humble Badger.
I read. I'm starting to read a lot more than I did. Physical activity is personal favorite. I like it. Just kind of unwinds and de-stresses.
Like sports and stuff, or
sports. I played a lot of sports in high school.
What did you play?
I played soccer, was my favorite. I did volleyball, rugby, wrestling.
The wrestling team.
Yes, I was on the wrestling.
Me too.
No, but you know that I find
it's different now. But I mean, when I was in high school, way back in the 20th century.
Yeah, the 20th century. No, but you know the funny
Yeah.
thing is, speaking of the 20th century, like all the sports you mentioned were not high-profile sports when I was in high school. Like when I was in high school, it was like football, baseball, hockey, that kind of thing. And like every sport that you mentioned, rugby and wrestling and stuff like that. So those were the sports that you played. Now, like we had a really good like basketball program at the school that I went to, both for the girls and the boys basketball. But that's interesting that it's see how things have changed in such a short time.
Diversified and everything's kind of, it's pretty cool actually. I like it that more sports have come to the forefront. But
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of them, like rugby, we had to kind of fight to keep that one going because it was such a small school that not, like you would have to really get people to sign up or it would not happen.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for the teachers that volunteered to actually supervise us, it wouldn't have happened also. So it was definitely a fighting thing. But
I remember the rugby team when I was in grade 9. I was going to join, but in the first 2 games, 2 guys broke their legs. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stick with football. They got pads. They got pads. That's the thing.
That's a nice deterrent right there, right?
Broken legs. I'm good.
Well, on that note, Chris, I think it's time for rapid fire. What do you think?
I think it's time for rapid fire. That'd be a great idea. All right. Let's see. We'll start with an easy one. What's your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
That's a good one.
That's a good answer.
That's a good answer.
Is that what everyone's been saying? Or
It's the first
Well,
question I've
it's a
asked,
good
actually.
answer.
Yeah,
I
it
think
is
it's a
good
great
answer in general,
holiday.
yeah.
It is.
One of my
You
favorites.
get presents. Although I think at my age now, it's more you give presents and you hope somebody remembers you.
Yeah. Well, no one ever says Simcoe Day.
No, that's a good day though. It's just
Well,
April.
as most
This
people
is
don't
August,
even know
right?
it's Simcoe Day. They know it as the August Civic Holiday.
Right.
It's a completely different thing.
I learned something new today, guys.
There you go. Well, that's the point, right? We all learned something. Cassidy, going back to rapid fire, what's your favorite junk food?
That's such a hard one.
The options, right?
The options.
Is it a hard one because you have so much different junk food that you eat, or is it a hard one because you don't eat junk food at all?
No, I actually have such a sweet tooth.
Oh, yeah.
Huge sweet tooth.
okay.
So for me, it's there's a lot of options there.
Okay.
I have to say gummies of some sort, but I don't know which ones.
Like
There's so many.
You know those squish gummies, the fancy ones, the alcoholic ones. Those
yes, those are good.
are good. There's edibles if you're into that kind of thing as well. Those are a little wonky though. Gummies are great. I actually have a big bag in my kitchen right now.
Oh yeah.
A really big bag. Well, it's not so big now. It's kind of half eaten. I really should watch,
This isn't about the inventory of your junk food.
We were just talking about gummies, man.
I know. Let's get
Gummies
back
are
to the
delicious.
rapid
All
fire.
let's
What do
go.
you think?
Well, yes. Let's do that. All right. If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to?
Probably around Woodstock. Actually, I've been preparing for this question all my life.
Really?
So I actually had the answer ready.
Just in case we had a time machine. That's why she was prepared.
I don't, but I mean, we'll build one for you. It's a thing.
Well, you never know. One time in a future podcast episode, it's like, I've been prepared for this question. I'm like, okay, well, and we have this time machine out in the back.
Here at the Pablo Dawson Company, we've been making a time machine.
Trax Ahead Recording Studio has way more than just studios. We also have time machines.
Ahead.
Once again, we've gotten off track. What is the answer to the question?
Around the Woodstock Festival. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed that again.
Yeah, no worries.
No, but it's interesting that you say that. Why is that? Is it because of all the artists and the music and what, or at least the image that Woodstock has?
Yeah, it just looked like a really peaceful time. I think a lot of people weren't as materialistic, and it was a lot more about nature and just being nice to people.
Yeah. I hope it was like that. I obviously wasn't around for that, but I suspect that it was probably just like now, but it was just because the way it's marketed.
We just had less stuff.
Yeah.
We had less stuff, so it's the way it's marketed.
Oh, there's so much stuff. It's just...
So Cassidy, you're a musician. You obviously mentioned that you were an athlete before. Last question for rapid fire. How many pull-ups can you do in a row?
Probably one.
Oh, good. So that ties my record.
So that's one more than I can do.
That's one more than you can do. Okay, so I at least beat your
I
record.
can pull up some gummy bears to my mouth.
Yeah, there you go. I could do that.
And as I understand it, you were a winner at the Ottawa Blues Fest?
Ooh,
Yes.
That's
it
right.
was.
congratulations.
So based on that, we have your trivia topic. It's about the Blues. Specifically, the St. Louis Blues, the National Hockey League team.
Right.
So, which I'm sure you're which you know very well, correct?
She's an expert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, let's go.
So obviously, here's your trivia portion. And remember, folks, the trivia portion of this is not really to highlight what we know and what we don't know, but rather to learn something together. So here we go. Are you ready, Cassidy?
Yes.
Obviously, blue is the main color of the St. Louis Blues uniform. Can you name their secondary color?
I'm going to go with green.
You're going to go with green. Unfortunately, that is not correct. It is yellow.
It's close enough on the color wheel.
I was
Gold,
thinking,
right,
yeah,
as
exactly.
people
I
would
was
say.
thinking
Who's in
blue
there?
and yellow
If you take
as
blue and yellow,
primary,
you
and
mix
then
it, get
secondary.
green.
I was thinking that was a trick question, the
Yeah, no.
secondary color, which is why I said green.
Ironically, the Leafs, who are just blue and white, are not called the Blues. That would have been a good name for the Toronto team, don't you think? The Toronto Blues?
Yeah. The varsity blues.
Like the varsity Blues, except they wouldn't be varsity.
Yeah.
Okay, your next question on the St. Louis Blues. What was the first year they won the Stanley Cup?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm going to just go for 1995.
No, it was actually 2019, just last year. They are the defending
Wow.
Stanley Cup champions.
That was totally a guess. Like, I know nothing about
close.
this.
Within like a 30-year window, it's close.
She was within a 30-year window, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, the St. Louis Blues play out of which U.S. state?
Oh. This is trickier than it should be, right?
It's not that tricky.
It's-
They play out of St. Louis.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say St. Louis probably.
Yeah,
But
St.
what
Louis is
state
in which
is-
U.S. state?
Oh. I mean, I don't know. I could guess.
It's Missouri or Missouri,
okay.
as we say.
Missouri.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So that's
close.
yeah. That was a bit of an unfair trivia, but we had to come up with it last minute because we didn't get more information on her bio. But we will the next time she's on the podcast. I would like to very much thank Cassidy Taylor for coming out onto the show. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'd also like to thank my co-host, the lovely and talented Senor Hio del Guapo. I'm just enjoying saying that, a.k.a. Chris.
I'm glad
Thanks
you got it.
for coming on.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate this. It's been great.
And once again, we'd like to thank our promotional partners at Malatesta Opera Events. If you're looking for a soprano or even a great singer for your next event, please visit malatestaoperaevents.com. Or you can also hire Cassidy Taylor, and maybe Cassidy and Malatesta Opera Events can work together on a project in the future. You never know. But either way, visit Malatesta Opera Events as our promotional partners. I want to thank the crew, as well as our producer, Anthony. Signing off from the set here at Trax Ahead Studio, I'm Pablo Dawson. Wherever you are and whatever you do, remember to follow your passion.
Thank you for tuning in to the Humble Badger podcast. For more information, please visit thehumblebadger.com. The Humble Badger podcast is produced by the Pablo Dawson Company. Context matters. See you next time.